Okay, now we can take a look at all things money matters. The rand was firmer in early trade as the dollar eased a bit, but has since weakened in midday trade. Viv Govender is the portfolio manager at Rand Swiss, and he joins us now for the latest market moves. Viv, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. The rand remains under pressure today. It's trading very close to that 19 rand to the dollar mark. What's driving the declines?
I think it's partly a couple of things. Firstly, we are seeing a downturn in the global market at the moment, and whenever things are a little negative, we see the rand weaken. The rand was considered to be a risk-on asset. When things are good, the rand is stronger. When things are bad, the rand is a bit weaker. The second thing is we are seeing a reaction to what happened at the U.S. Fed. They came out with minutes that said basically that they were a bit more hawkish. They were more likely to raise rates than the market had thought. And when the U.S. raises rates, obviously the dollar gets stronger versus the rand, and that's one of the things that makes the rand weak at the moment.
Okay. Average inflation expectations for the year increased to 6.5% in the second quarter from 6.3%, according to a survey conducted by the Stellenbosch-based Bureau for Economic Research. Help us make sense of the findings of that survey.
Yes, we are seeing an increase in expectations. Overall, the 5-year outlook is a bit better, but the near term is looking a bit worse. What's important about this is that what the Reserve Bank is actually targeting is inflation expectations. That's the way it actually manipulates the inflation rate. It's basically make sure that people don't think that the rates are going to rise too much, and therefore they're not going to ask for wage increases or price increases to compensate for that. So if you thought the interest rate's going to, the inflation rate was going to go up by 25% next year, when you go to negotiate your next raise, you're not going to ask for a 5% increase. You want 20-25% just to keep track with that 25% expected inflation rate. And the other hand, if you thought it was 1%, even a 2 or 3% rate pay rise would be considered to be better than inflation. So that's the way inflation works into the market. And if the Reserve Bank is seeing this, it's getting worried about expectations rising, it's going to be much more likely that they're going to be increasing interest rates.
Sugar producer Tongaat Hewlett has resumed paying the statutory sugar levies from April. Other firms were already starting to cry foul. What's the latest there?
Yeah, look, Tongaat Hewlett is business rescue. The company is under a lot of pressure at the moment. However, we saw from Rainbow RCL basically, that the non-payment by Tongaat was affecting their profits. I do think that Tongaat Hewlett is a viable company. It's something that has a long history in South Africa. I know people that have because I'm from Durban, I know people that have worked there, and their grandparents have worked there as well. It has a long history in the area. And I do think that, obviously should be rescued if possible. That being said, the company is in a very weak situation at the moment, and will require a bit of help to get through it. I do have hope that, it gets through it. I do have belief that there is still a viable business there, but like I said, it's a vulnerable point at the moment.
Consumers and businesses may soon have to pay more for fiber internet products as internet service providers respond to cost increases by fiber network operators. Surely another cost to bear for consumers. Yeah,
the one thing I want to point out is that we are not helping ourselves here. CASA, with its regulations around 30% local BE ownership, etc., is making things like Starlink, which is a good competitor in certain cases for some of these international operations, making it basically stay away from South Africa. I think that the more competition there is in the sector, the better it is going to be for everybody in the country. Unfortunately, some of our own internal regulations, designed around specific marketplaces, not taking into account the new technologies out there, has made it more difficult for us to basically get the better pricing that's available. Right now, at one point in time, indoor plumbing, water wasn't a human right. At one point in time, electricity was not a human right. And right now, I think we're getting to a point where we are viewing, internet access is not a human right, but in reality, it's coming close to being that. It's like electricity, it's like water. It's going to be something that you need to have to survive in the modern world.
You don't even need to ask a teenager. Ask a 2-year-old if that is a human right, and they'll tell you it is.
Not too young, too.
You have no idea, but they get so excited even when the electricity comes back on. But sure, you speak about the regulation in South Africa. Surely it's not set in stone, right? So as we speak about AI, the possibilities, and some even say that we've been left out in this fourth industrial revolution, where's the resistance?
Yeah, look, this is actually, I think, something that I'm currently doing at the moment here, trying to get something done in the AI space in South Africa. Because here's the thing, South Africa punches way above its weight when it comes to information technology. You look at some of the biggest names in Silicon Valley, they are South African, not just Elon Musk, but you go down the line, you're talking about people that helped start PayPal, people that basically run the biggest, venture capital funds in Silicon Valley, all have some, South African links here. So the talent is here, but what really happens is people graduate university and they leave South Africa and they go overseas with their talent, and the government is doing nothing to actually stop that at the moment. There needs to be some kind of plan in place to keep the talent in South Africa, keep the brain power here. And it's not like, you have to go to Silicon Valley. I mean, there's many places in the world. Israel, I think, is an example of that, where they go and develop their own internal stuff and they sell it to Silicon Valley for billions instead of selling letting their workers go overseas and work in Silicon Valley and make millions, you know what I mean? I think it's far smarter both for the workers and both for our country as well to try and do something around that. And, infrastructure, like you said, around AI, as well as, more of an industrial policy around, the sector is something government, I think, is falling far behind on.
In fact, there's always this conversation that is raging. Right now, there's a report that is out in terms of parents who are looking, when their children graduate, to send them to universities outside of the country. But why is data cheaper when you walk outside of our borders, in particular on this here continent? You'll find other countries where it is uber cheap to actually buy data, use it, etc.
Part of it is in our name. We're in South Africa, so we're the southernmost part of Africa, and unfortunately, most of the stuff that happens is the northern hemisphere. So we are as far away in Africa as you can get from the internet, if you know what I mean. So it has to travel a long way to get to us. That partially is it. But the other thing is the fact that when you have lower amounts of trade, lower amounts of competition, you have higher prices, and that's what's happening here. If you had, like I said, like a thing like Starlink in place, that would cap some of the, the upper demand, because upper levels of what could be asked, because obviously they does provide some competition in some areas. I do think that quite frankly, internet linkages, the internet basically follows kind of like Moore's law, in which prices do tend to fall over time. We should be seeing similar, price falls for consumers as well. If it's rising, there are market issues that need to be addressed there. Competition.
Viv Govender is the portfolio manager at Rand Swiss. Thank you very much, as always, for your time.